Just so you all know, this is the backside. That's how far in that is. So, yeah, stick my foot in there like that. That's a little better than 12 inches in there, probably about 14. And this side you probably can't see too much. Well, hey, we can see a hole with a whole bunch of little holes. That's full length of the 1-inch impact. Actually, probably about to where my foot is. That's how far I got to get in there to reach. And see if I can do this. Stare at the cardboard for a second. Oh yeah, by the way. There we go. Looks like a Ford truck axle. I'm kind of wondering. I might still have a way around brakes. We'll see. I'm hoping I can get this one apart. I spent about 20 minutes with a short handle sledge beating on that drum and haven't broke it loose yet. It may not break loose. If it doesn't, that means if I'm lucky, I can get all those bolts loose there, but unfortunately there should be a nut on the other side, most likely a lock nut. And if that's the case, that won't get me very far. But I'm going to get this one off and go from there. It turns, so I know it's good. It's the other side, but I've got a set of brakes on an axle. I just don't know if they're compatible. Air brakes, that is. Change the spider and might be there if the drums are right. Because unfortunately the others I got, the drums are an outboard drum. And I just don't think it'll go together very good on here. They might, I don't know. But they're going to be a different hub, so different bearings. And I don't want to mess with that. It's bad enough on this one. In order to actually get it apart to do anything, I've got to pull the axle shaft out and take it all apart. Which, I don't know, might not hurt for as long as this thing's set. Because I know it's been at least 13 years since it's been run. And, you know, it doesn't hurt to make sure things are, kind of like the vent was not exactly loose. Those things get plugged up and tightened up and then create a little too much pressure inside. That's something that'll probably get a vent tube on it, so it'll have less chance of doing that. Probably should do that on the fertilizer buggy too. I think all we got is a regular vent. The other issue I might have is trying to get the air cans mounted up if I go to air brakes on this. With the extra bracing mounting welded on here, I'm not sure. Should be room to the front. Actually, it should clear. Should be fine. But, you know, it might not. I won't know till I start taking stuff apart on something else and putting here. We'll see. I was thinking about trying to figure out how to set you guys up here and spin some nuts off over here, but I don't think that's going to be able to happen because wherever I set my phone is where I'm going to be leaning. So we'll just do the now you see it, now you don't. I figure I'll get this off before number one gets here this morning. I don't know if she's going to be much help on this. If the weather's not too bad, she's going to be cleaning the 2-year-old's lot and cleaning the feed barn, I hope. That, and we got to feed hay today too, and if it's not bad, it'll be little bales. Which, as you all know, takes forever. So, I got to find a block too, because doing one side you can put it there, but once that tire's not there, I'm not going to get that one off the ground. So I need to move the jack over here closer to it, and it doesn't lift high enough to reach without a block. And I'm kind of running short of blocks because we got the front blocked and I got this blocked, and blocks just kind of seem to disappear sometimes. I know I got 2 of them that got batteries sitting on top of them to keep them off the floor, but I still need more. So anyway, that's where we're at. get that thing off and probably get that rear end out and get the frame setting up on some stands. Then do some cleaning, figure out what we're going to do. Still got to get that thing off of there, but unfortunately, one thing I got to contend with is they welded angle iron on the corners, and I think the bottom of the step over there, the top step, I think might be welded to the cab. There is a tack on top. Number one says there's weld underneath, so we'll find out one way or the other. So I'll get you some more later. Maybe it'll be naked by then. I doubt it. It'll probably still have its hat on. Okay, quick update. She kind of looks more naked. And yeah, she don't know what she's doing. She's making a mess. Got the pump off the front of the engine. Got the sprayer pump off the frame. Got a few things taken apart. Still got to go through that. I stood on the end of that 24-inch breaker bar. Number two walked in and I said, "Your turn." So she stood on it. Number one says, "Ha, I weigh more than you. I can do it. Ha, ha, ha." Yeah. That's after having to make a slug to go into the pump drive on the crankshaft. And I used to have one around here made out of an old 1-inch bolt. I couldn't find it, but that's what we're shoved into. She's tighter than tight. I don't know if it's worth messing with or not. Number one says she pleads the fifth. She don't want to have nothing to do with it. Pretty well out of wooden blocks. Well, I got more. It's just a matter of rounding them up. I got a bunch of 2x4s that I got from number one's better half a couple years ago for the express purpose of building some cribbing blocks. So I think we're at that point. I want to get that axle off, and I spent about, combined, I suppose, probably an hour beating on that drum trying to get that brake loose. I really don't want to have to cut that drum to get it loose, but if I have to, I will. Pretty sure the plasma will go through that thing okay. It's rated to cut 3/8 clean and 1/2 inch or 5/8 dirty, so it might do her. We'll see. And if you heard that vibration on my phone just now, that's the vet saying he's finally headed this way. The practice we use, they're about 25, 30 miles away. 3 of them in the practice. And if you want a cow vet, they're about the best one around. So if we got to wait, we wait. We found one cow. She's been on here before, splotch. The one with the big splotch on the side of her face. She's kind of in a different shape today. She's skinny, hadn't had any water by the looks of it. She was fine last night, not this morning. Cheeks are all swelled up. She's not off feed. I mean, she's not her normal self and running when you put feed in, but she did decide that she wanted some grain, so she ate about the normal amount she gets. And she's eating some hay. We got her locked up so he can, yes, number one's yelling, but you can't hear her, with water and food.
Because I could just see someone else saying you have it locked
But
up.
she's waiting, and he just now told me he's on his way. He expected to be here. It's almost 4:30 now. He expected to be here by 3:30. The other 2 vets are still busy on other calls. I mean, you call at 8:30 in the morning, but their schedule was already filled yesterday or the day before, so they always fit us in one way or the other. If it's, if we were having a breech calf or a prolapse or something, they would have been here probably by 9 or 9:30 at the latest. But just a sick cow, and we give her what we can for what's going on. We just got to finish figuring what's going on, and that's what they're coming for. So I either got to dig a hole or we keep her going and get a calf out of her. And the age, she's 14 years old, so I mean, she's already on the ship list. She was a couple years ago due to age, and she's not quite producing as well as she once did. But, you know, like I've said in a couple other videos, we had a stomach worrying issue a couple years ago, and that did a lot of damage, not only to our pocketbooks, but to keeping the cows in shape. And we're trying to keep ground feed into them, because whatever damage is still there, that'll help with it. Anything rough to try to scuff up what the worms did. She was one that didn't show much sign of it, but when she calved that year, she sure did. Her calf was half a normal for her. But that's another story. This is just update on here. No, I haven't got that line cut yet, but look at what's right next to it. If I hadn't have spent the last probably 2 hours making a piece to go into that coupler, so I couldn't find the one I know I got someplace, then of course I goofed and got a little spot of weld in the wrong spot. And I spent probably 45 minutes with a file doing about a 1/8 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch long strokes trying to file the piece off, because that's all the room I had to work it, and I couldn't get into anything else. So that's my story today. And yeah, like number one just said, at least I didn't lose the 10mm today. Hopefully you all saw that one with number 2 getting her headlight housings changed on her Tahoe. Oh, and number 1 just wait, because she's got the same housings coming. Hers are screwed up too, so they're going to have to change hers too.
No, Brooke's going to.
No, she says number 2 is going to change hers. Either way, it's going to get done. I see I've got a whole bunch of new subscribers now. I know I've gotten a few really nice shout outs lately. So, you know, I mean, I know who did it. Well, who has given. They're kind of all across the board. I've given all of them shout outs too. Numbers really jumped up. I'm very pleasantly surprised. I'd like to thank every one of you for subscribing and watching. And what do you do when you got the mechanics gloves on and they're full of oil, and
you ask your dad to get your glasses out,
and you think you want your glasses because you think you can't see. So then you expect Dad,
yeah,
after he gets his fingerprints on the lenses, to do what he did earlier for her.
Hey, thanks.
And put them back on.
By the way, this is really sharp edge.
And you don't want to know what she did with those gloves a little bit ago to my nice, clean yellow creeper that was almost new, and now it looks like it's 20 years old.
Hey, I bought it for you. I'm allowed to make it dirty.
Yeah, I could have used my old one. My old one's right over there, that nice yellow creeper there. Jeepers creepers, man. I don't like the new one near as much as the old one, but that old one I've had for 30 years or longer. Probably 30 years, I guess. I've had to put new wheels on it twice. The new one just, oh shit, she's going to do it now. Look out, dog. Dog gets in the way. Dog's still in the way, but there's the difference. The old one's flat bottom, the new one's curved. But the old one is a little stouter. I mean, I'm not the smallest guy in the world. I ain't the biggest guy in the world either. But neither one of them are an issue rolling around. Just that old one, it's been a damn good creeper for a long time.
Okay, but it's better than this one.
Here. Remember, I don't get nothing from nobody for anything, but I swear by that one, even though it's had a good life. And this one, yeah, I don't swear by it near as much. Then we've got the POS that my father picked up. Yeah, it's kind of the same shape as this one over here, but it's a blow molded POS that with the original wheels on it. What I laid on it, you can see the scuff mark down the middle. That's because even when I was much lighter than I am now, I still scraped the floor. And it became an adjustable creeper that sits a little higher. Because working on trucks, sometimes you just can't reach things. Especially when you're doing a lot of chassis work and adding on to them and whatever else. So I didn't make that one so it catches itself when you adjust it up. But you just lay a 2x4 across and put it wherever you want to. Get it up to about a 40-degree angle, and up at about a 40-degree angle, your butt ends up sitting actually on that bar. Catches just right. You don't drag the ground. Okay. Anyway, now she's talking about our wonderful jack stands. I want a pair.
Well, I have a pair of each.
Yeah, get the pair of the tall one then. Here they are. Any of you old timers might know what those are. When they used to make car axles a little bit different than they do today. These are, I don't know where, well, I shouldn't say I don't know where they came from. I do know they're between my dad and my grandfather. They're ones that they acquired because they probably tore the car apart that it was in, because knowing my dad, he probably blew the rear end up in it anyway. That was one of his favorite things he used to talk about when he was in high school. He'd, like everybody, go out racing. And he had a job at a gas station that had a shop there. Oh, he'd go race Friday night and blow the rear end up, and he'd show up before the boss closed. And the boss would say, "Swapping it tonight, or are you going to wait till morning before you get to work?" He'd laugh and usually swap rear ends that night. And the next day he'd get to work, and when he had a chance, he'd go start tearing that blown up rear end apart. Time I got to where you could do that got too expensive to do. And just think, he did that every weekend. I don't know. Life and times, they used to be fun. Oh, they still are fun, just in a different way. So, anyway, we're going to throw a piece of round stock across there. I got a piece of, I think there's a piece 1.25 inch, 1.5 round stock. Hinge pin off a small bit or something. It'll lay right in the saddle on that. And we'll set that frame right down on it. Can't go nowhere. If you saw the video with the service truck that's got all the pictures, got the slideshow in it, there's a few pictures with it. That's what it's setting on. And they work great. Probably set them a little farther forward than that, because that rear end's going to get slid up. And the front of where that rear end mounts will be just about where this one's sitting. So probably put them about right there. Not like there's any weight behind it once that rear end's off, and leaves a lot in front of it as long as that motor's in there. Then I just got to figure out how to get that motor out, because it's all made to unbolt and set it down and get it out. Then find something better to put in there. Worst comes to worst, I got Dad's old service truck out there with a 350 and a 4-speed in it. I know what the V8 does in the fertilizer buggy. You know, you don't have the torque that the straight 6 has, but you got the horsepower, so you make up for that. So anyway, I gotta get a text back to the vet since he's on his way, and we'll I remember I'll even give you an update on that cow. I'll get something else going here and get more off of this. It's just slow with everything else going on. That's the biggest issue I have anymore, is spending the time in the shop when I got something in here. I always end up out of the shop for half a day. In fact, tomorrow I won't be in here too much. Friday's going to be a messed up day too. But finally got some skid steer tires supposed to be in tomorrow, so Friday we're going to try to get new ones on it. It's got racing slicks on it now. Some of you know how those are, especially if you got to go through the manure. So
That just makes it fun.
anyway, I'll just keep gabbing, Keep filling space. No, I ain't gonna do that to you. I'll let you go. I'll get some more with this one, day or two, and get it up. See what happens with this thing. Thanks for watching, and like I said, I'll get some more. Pen swapping around means she gets shoved up here so they can get in down there to eat. Here's the one that wasn't feeling good yesterday. Don't know. Vet made it out, checked her out last night. She's still a little skinnier than normal, but only thing we can figure out is either she got butted or kicked or something. Whether you get a kind of decent head-on look. Her cheeks were swelled up past her eye sockets. Eye splotchy. Her good eye was sunk in a little bit, which is this one, and her bad eye was pooching out a little, and she was way skinny. She did kind of pick at her food. Gave her a shot of Prevail, aka Banamine. Help with the swelling and whatever pain she had, because we didn't know what was going on. Her temp was up a little bit, but it was still more or less normal. And she started drinking water. So he checked her out one end to the other. Can't find anything wrong. She's not due till June 20th. So as far as, sort of reaching in and feeling for a calf, it's kind of hard to check for a calf, but she's way better by the time the vet got here last night and doing good this morning. And number one says, you need to come and get some of her on video, because she was talking to me earlier, because she always talks. She's seen a video when I've been in the barn. She's the one that's always bellering her.
And we say we love you too, Splotch,
And the kids figured out a long time ago, you just yell back at her, we love you too, Splotch, and then she'll be quiet. So you yell anything else you want at her and she ignores it, but you yell that and she'll be quiet. So anyway, the old lady's still alive. We'll keep her that way. You get a few of these old ones when they've, kind of stood out in the herd. When it's time to get rid of them, it gets a little tough sometimes, and she's one of them. There's probably going to be a full trailer load of geriatrics going this fall, if they make it that far. I mean, they're all in at least as good a shape as she is. Not bad for a 14-year-old cow. Got a whole bunch of 13-year-olds to go too, and I don't know if we got a 14-year-old one or not. We did have another one in the same number prefix that I think we shipped her last year. So anyway, I should have done this separate from the video it'll be on, but this is gonna be on with the buggy.
Hey.
Since the other half of it is.
Oh, that was a lame move. That's
gonna be a long video. And well, you can see out there. That's about how well it really looks. Foggy and freezing this morning, so yay, great morning. Oh, number one's kind of stalling. She wants to go in the shop and warm up before she cleans feed barn and cleans the 2-year-old's lot. She says, oh, but maybe it'll warm up. No, it ain't. As foggy as it is, it's going to be like this all day, and if it gets above freezing, we'll be lucky.
That is a pathetic move.
And it's supposed to rain late this afternoon, so she's got to get stuff cleaned before I can unload hay trucks, because I kind of need to put some in right here. And it comes off in sets of 10. I can't set one down there. I want to keep it up in here close. It's easier for the bale loader to get in and easier to get in to get it out of here. So. Oh, she's pulling stuff out of the eyeballs.
I got that chunk out of her eye.
Nice.
Out of her tear duct.
That wet chunk right there came out of her tear duct.
Alright, what about the other one?
Since she's got the bad eye, if we run her through the chute, we always check.
Hey, give me.
You'd be surprised what you can pull out of those tear ducts.
Like this one's packed?
And I don't know why my phone's more jerky this morning than normal. I mean, I'm getting vertigo watching it. Yay. Not really, but no, I've actually pulled whole oat heads like a foot long with still all the seeds on them out of her tear ducts when we've had oat hay. It's I don't know. She gets her tear ducts cleaned out 4 or 5 times a year. Right now is a good opportunity, being she's in the lockups.
Yeah. That looks good.
Then you wonder how many other cows get a bunch of stuff in their tear ducts. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll get you some more on the buggy in a little while. I got some more things cut off of it. Got one of those side plates. I ended up cutting the bolts off and it's still stuck. So, yay. More to come. Okay, enough of cows. Well, actually, not really. Number one's out there cleaning the feed barn right now. The straw bales that were in those feeders, they got them down low enough they're not going to finish off any more of them, so they're getting pushed off the edge into the newer barn. And the 2-year-old's feeder, I went outside in the concrete with a roof on it. That one's down low enough. Heck, I should go throw a bale in the feeder inside for them because they picked that one down as far as they're going to eat it. It's down to just a bunch of wet crap. But I thought I'd show you this. One thing I noticed this morning, they put a spacer in, and it's welded in. I don't know how well. It looks like it's a couple spots about 2 inches long in here, maybe a little longer. Yeah, probably like about 6 inches. A little spot at the end. The inside's not welded. I'll get to that when I get to it. These stinking plates, you know, just a little bit of scale behind there. I knew it'd be full of scale. Hopefully we'll remedy that. Hit that with, we're gonna hit the whole frame with the needle scaler and paint it with some of that rust stopping paint. At least the rust stopping primer anyway. Oh, I was gonna get the muffler cut off. It's still hanging down there. A couple little brackets are still right here, but you know. By the time I washed all the extra stuff off this one and cut the bolts off, and I washed off what I could where the battery box was, the rest of that's going to be grinder work. Kind of like these plates. You know, I could have washed a little bit better in a couple spots, but that don't take long. Probably break out the big grinder for that. This one I had one bolt that just did not want to help me out any. Would not move. And of course, you know, it was in the wrong spot because this end needed to go down to get it to break loose and let the plate fall off. But it was coming up against the motor mount, wouldn't move. Oh, I picked up, actually it was that hole right there. I picked it straight up in the air and it still wouldn't go off. We still had to beat it with a hammer. Then the bolt came right out. The other side I just finished. So there's chunks of bolt laying everywhere on the floor. Like I literally just finished. And I thought, I'll get this together. I got more than enough here waiting to go up so you can all see what's happening. You know, keep in mind, I don't get to spend 12 hours a day in here. I've been doing good to get about 2 or 3 hours. And, you know, you walk in, you spend the first half hour figuring out where you're at. This sucker, I ended up getting the chisels out. And I ended up grinding on a couple of those bolts, ground it down a little ways, and still couldn't budge them. The very back one here, it wouldn't budge till after I got everything else done. Let me see. That front one wouldn't budge. That one there wouldn't budge. And that one there wouldn't budge. So I ended up, or no, I guess it was the bottom one right here. Not the top one, the bottom one right down here. I ended up wedging chisels in there and finally got it over it and thought, okay, now I can wiggle it off. And no, still wouldn't wiggle off. So I got it out far enough and kept the wide chisel shoved up underneath it. And took the narrow one up here to the front and finally got it. And it still didn't really want to go. And those sneaky buggers, when they welded right there, they caught a little bit of it. I didn't notice that with the scale and stuff around it, so cut that off. It's done. kind of stalling on pulling the rear end out because number one, she's using the skid steer, and number two, we're gonna get new shoes put on it tomorrow. So when she's done for the day, it gets pressure washed and can't get her in here, so we'll just put her down in the main barn and throw some blocks underneath the back end and use the bucket to get her off the ground and pull everything off, make sure they're clean, because I'm not mean to the tire man. There's some of the dairymen around here, oh my God. They make sure and get a flat on their feed truck, but it's parked in the middle of the freaking manure. And they, oh yeah, it's over there with the flat, go fix it. Well, it's in 1.5 feet of manure and it can't even get to the tire. That's just wrong, I'm sorry. There's been once or twice they've gotten something that wasn't cleaned up because we were nowhere near home to clean it up, and we've, scrub it off with your shoe or in a rag or whatever as good as you can. But no, these will get pressure washed good. They're pretty chitty. So anyway, yeah, I'm breathing hard. I've been swinging that little sledgehammer over there way too much lately. The old hand don't want to grab things anymore. Between that and the grinder, I've messed my hands up enough that I can do quite a bit, but then I get so far and I just can't grab anything for a while. In fact, sometimes I got to take my other hand and make a fist with it. Use it to make a fist on the one that don't want to work, so it'll work. But anyway, that's the update for today. I'm still in search of another engine because, I could put the 3/4 bar on there and throw a 6-foot cheater on there, but with 250 pounds jumping up and down on the very end of a 2-foot bar and I can't budge it at all, I don't think she's going to turn. And I'd still much rather have a diesel or a bigger gas engine. Worst comes to worst, I can pull the International engine out of the other buggy. It runs good, you just can't get parts for it. It'd slip right in here, you wouldn't even know anything different. And it's a torquey little bugger too. I'm sure this one was in its day. So anyway, thank you for watching. And by the way, I've gotten a few really good shout outs from a few people in the last, actually all year, even though this is only the 9th. So, hey, the last week and a day or so. And I went from, I think it was 334 subscribers. It was just brought to my attention a little bit ago. It's 441. So a bunch of new subscribers. Thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing some comments from you and trying to figure out who you are and where you're at and what you do. Because I kind of do that. I stalk my subscribers and see what they got. And if they got a good channel I like, I subscribe. Yeah, even if it's a mediocre channel, I usually subscribe. Fair about's fair play, right? So that's my story for today. We did finish getting the rest of the hydraulics out of the cab last night. Cut the one hose off so we could do it. And yeah, I keep trying to get her to clean her mess up. We just keep piling on it. Between the two of us, we spent a little time getting fittings off, and most of them are took apart, not all of them. Those that aren't apart yet, she was working on her own this morning and yesterday while I was doing some other stuff. And gave up on trying to get the fitting out of that big valve. I figure when I put that in the vise and I put a 3-foot pipe wrench on it and two of us can't move it, yeah, it can go in the barrel. And here's the rest of the hydraulics. Those are the two valves that were in the cab. Most of that's what was outside underneath the hydraulic tank. They are all going to have new locations. Because for one, where they had those underneath the hydraulic tank, if you had to do any work on them, you literally had to take the whole system apart to get to one. I'm not into that, if you can help it. Sometimes you don't have a lot of choice. Still got to pull the rest of the switches off the side of the dash in there, and I'll knock that brake lock off the side. We're not going to be using it anyway. Just little things. God knows if that radiator's any good, so we get to the point where we can, we'll put some pressure to it and see what happens. I do have what I need to put some pressure to it. God knows it's old enough, I probably don't want to put too much to it. Oh, we finished getting what they had of a side console out of here last night too. Had, not real sure why, they ran a pressure line, just a little line up to a pressure gauge inside off the pressure side of the pump, the sprayer pump. I don't know if that's so they knew when it was turned on. I mean, I'm sorry, I usually hear those things running. Or if, just because they thought they might have had issues, I don't know. Don't have a clue yet. We've never done that. We just put a gauge on and get them set where we want them, and we're done. Still got to get that off of there. I totally spaced that one yesterday when we were doing that stuff, but then neither one of us was in the cab. She was standing on the front frame reaching in, and I was standing down here, and we broke most of the bolts off. And finally got that Hydra boost off the side. Reached in there this morning, cut the bolts out, called her good. So the only hydraulic lines are actually left are those two right there going up to the steering valve. That'll all come out. Probably take the valve out, make sure it's good. Some of this stuff's got some sludge in it. She's pretty well got all these cleaned up inside, I think. Yeah, I don't know if you can see in there or not. There you go. It looks worse in the camera than it is in person, but say the thing's set for at least 13 years, so oil drained out, stuff dried up. Just got to make sure it's as clean as we can get her first. And of course use a good filter, which I've got, so that's not a problem. So, hey, like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Ring the bell if you really want to know every time I put one up. I'm sure YouTube will be nice enough to let you know somewhere between 2 seconds and 10 hours after the fact. Sometimes they wait 2 days to let me know about other people's videos. Kind of comical. I think, ooh, cool. Hey, I've been waiting for that guy to put that video out. He said he was going to do it. And, you know, a day later I get told about it and feel stupid because there's already 500 comments. I wanted to be first, dang it. Oh, well. Once again, thanks for watching, and thank you everyone for subscribing. I hope you enjoy the ride. I'm in it for the ride, right? And so far it's been a really good ride. Started this, I think my first video went up on the 8th of June last year. Just almost a year after my dad passed away. So it was the first full hay season without him. No, first June, not July. Yeah, he passed away at the end of June. First, it was 8th of June. That's when I put that first one up. Right when we finally started cutting hay, which was almost a month early, the way the weather's been for the last 25 or 30 years. We usually can't get on the ground because it's too soft. You end up leaving 6-inch ruts. Then you can't get the hay to dry anyway. So we end up waiting end of June, 1st of July, and some of it's overripe, but you know, you get what you get. All right, I rambled too long. Yeah, I even bored the dogs. They can't even stay awake for it. Hope you stay awake till the end of this. Thanks for watching. We'll get you some more later. Bye.